My name is Broderick Menke. I am a youth representative from the Marshall Islands, official delegate from the Marshall Islands, and I am here to attend as many side events and NGO-related activities there are here at COP, try to coincide with what we are doing in the Marshall Islands and our plans for after post-COP.
How do you feel when you hear the word climate change?
Climate change is it's like that friend you don't want, you know? That's always there. Well, not a friend. I don't know how to describe climate change. Climate change is that one person you don't really want that's always there in your life. In the Marshall Islands, climate change is just your everyday struggle. People daily would complain about either they don't have enough crops to sell for to other people to get money for paying for their child's support or education, or people would complain about not having clean water or not having access to water at all. People would complain about seawalls and other coastal barriers being eroded and being broken down by huge storm surges and really flushing out their homes into the ocean. So I feel really defensive when I hear climate change.
Can you tell us more about the effects of climate change here?
Major effects of climate change in my home are, sea level rise. A lot of people talk about the sea level will rise in the near future. No, sea level has risen, and we're living everyone's predicament of the future. We're living everyone's view of the future. Everyone's future is our present, basically, is what I'm trying to say. So a lot of people are saying the sea level will continue to rise. We're saying it's already risen high enough to the point where we're experiencing major damages to our homes. Well, that's a big thing. I would actually want to really highlight on that. Major damage to our homes, meaning whenever we have storm surges, waves would come in and either break your home apart, tear it apart, or they would leave you, or they would have you migrate or temporarily relocate from that area to somewhere else safer. And you have to come back and kind of find ways to financially support yourself to rebuild another home. Other effects would be droughts. Drought is becoming more of a regular term in the Marshall Islands. Just right now, we're expecting a severe El Nino that would last for about 6 months. That would mean no rain, or at least very little rain for 6 months. So in the Marshall Islands, so a lot of people don't have a lot of access to fresh waters, and some of the outer islands in the Marshall Islands rely on their natural resources either in the water, or water meaning in the ocean, or on land meaning crops that grow on trees. El Nino long-term effects that would happen in the Marshall Islands are all these stuff would really destroy our corals, meaning a lot of our people will lose their food access. We would have a hard time trying to fish or hunt for food, gather food.
How do you feel about the negotiations?
Right now it's a little hectic. I feel like it's really hectic. I feel like some key people, major contributors to carbon emissions, should just sit down together and just talk to each other and say, hey, we gotta agree on something, because for them it's it's just a game. For us, it's survival. I feel like the negotiations should go the right direction. That's why a lot of us Pacific Islanders are moving around, like little ants trying to find where we fit in and trying our best to network and trying to find ways to get ourselves out there, get our messages out there.
What is your mission here, and has it changed since you arrived?
My mission was to basically try to seek further help and try to see if people could help us in the conservation aspect of things. But I feel like it's changed towards really trying to push myself towards outreach and working with the media, trying to promote, or not promote, but advocate, talk about the Marshall Islands, talk about our daily struggles, talk about what's happening with us, tell the whole world who we are, tell them that if the negotiations go wrong or in a different way from what we expect, which is 1.5 degrees Celsius, and then we would probably lose our islands, not lose our islands, but our islands would be affected so much that it will probably be very hard to live on, which would mean losing who we are as people, losing our cultural identity, losing our beautiful language, which means who we are. It's just losing a lot. We have so much to lose. Others don't have so much to lose because they think they seem to have everything. Others meaning like big contributing countries, carbon contributing countries. And us, we don't have much. We don't contribute much towards greenhouse or the ozone, thickening out the ozone. But we're the front line. We're affected so much from it. I just feel like people should just sit down and just really let that sink in. Really think about it. Just don't read about it. Just really think about it. People will lose their home, will lose their identity, will lose who they are, will be displaced, will be just sent off somewhere else because that's just something people would plan for.
Have you yourself started thinking about moving?
No, that's nowhere near any of my thoughts. I consider myself as a climate activist, and I consider myself as a climate activist, and I think that I need to stay strong and stay positive and just remain and just speak out as much as I can. Just try to get everybody on board with us. Never I don't have that thought of mentality of just moving out. That would mean changing everything that I am, starting anew while I'm 20 years old, 25 years old. Starting something new. People don't really go through that. That would mean something very new. Like imagine somebody just having, being forced to move out of their homes, going somewhere other than their own country, just learn a new language, learn a new culture, and adapt to new laws that are not even ours, laws that we don't even agree on, language that we don't even know. So, it's not quite easy as it sounds to just move somewhere.
What is your message to the people back in Sweden?
I want the Swedish people to really just sit down and, like I said, read about us. Look up the Marshall Islands. Look up the Pearls of the Pacific. We are beautiful islands just scattered across the Pacific Sea, filled with people that are just lovely and demonstrate love and care for each other within our community. We are communal. We love one another. We share things with one another. And I want them to just realize that and just sit down and think to themselves, these people will lose their islands if it's not up to us, or anybody else in the whole wide world. They need to just sit down and do the same thing, because we are embarking on something new. We need to start somewhere. I want the Swedish people to just maybe reduce their carbon footprints and kind of bother the major corporations about their carbon footprints and just try to lower it down as much as they can, maybe all that they can. Switch to renewable energy, switch to other eco-friendly matters, because without it, that's all that I'm asking for, and what we'll get is survival. We'll get survival out of this. If you guys do this, we survive. We get to survive, and we have to live in our own islands. We don't get to bother anybody else. We don't get to burden anybody else of who we are.